Around the world, conflicts, wars, and other geopolitical crises have left millions of people without a country. They are called the stateless. And as Stephanie Sy reports, their plight is finally being recognized by the Biden administration.
Milian Ethiopis has never had a vacation. Every day, he drives a few miles from his apartment in Prince George's County, Maryland, to the multiple gas stations that he manages, often working 12-hour days.
This is actually like my second home. All my vitamins are here.
The 48-year-old lives alone, worried about starting a relationship.
I don't want to add any my bag. If I,
Your baggage?
yeah, I love to be in a relationship. I'm kind of scared, to share my story.
His story begins in Ethiopia, the son of an Ethiopian mother and an Eritrean father. In 1998, the neighboring countries went to war, and Milian's father was imprisoned, then deported to Eritrea. Milian, who was 24 at the time, his siblings and his mother stayed in Ethiopia.
And you were also detained at some point by the Ethiopian government.
Yeah, three government officers, they came, they picked me up.
Why? On what grounds?
Because of my Eritrea ethnicity, and they just torture me.
They tortured you.
They torture me, It's like here the scars and here.
His mother encouraged him to flee the country for the U.S.
So when I went there to that immigration office, they confiscate my passport.
Because your passport was Ethiopian,
Yeah.
but because you were ethnically Eritrean
Yeah.
through your father,
Yeah.
they confiscated your Ethiopian passport.
Yeah.
That was the moment Milian Ethiopis became stateless. Statelessness may be hard to grasp for many Americans because the U.S. Constitution guarantees citizenship for anyone born here. That's not the case in a lot of other countries. The United Nations defines stateless people as individuals who don't have the recognition or protection of any country. Geopolitical events like war can cause statelessness, as can the dissolution of a government, such as the former Soviet Union. That's how Karina Ambartsumian Clow became stateless. She was a victim of the last political upheaval in Eastern Europe. She is also the child of a mixed ethnic marriage.
My dad's Armenian, my mom's Ukrainian. My parents are both born in Soviet Union. My dad was born in Tbilisi, descendant of Armenian genocide survivors that migrated there. But my mom grew up Ukrainian. She was born right outside in Odessa in Voznesensk. To two parents that also survived turmoil and Holocaust. There's a lot of remnants of survival and lack of nationality, lack of protection.
Her parents experienced discrimination in the Soviet Union, she says.
In Ukraine, my dad had a hard time living there with us. He was assaulted many times.
For being Armenian.
Yeah, my parents were very scared for me as a 4-year-old with an Armenian name. It wasn't safe for us. They were scared. They're like, we need to get out.
They went to Canada in 1992, where they lived for 4 years, but were denied legal status. During that time, the Soviet Union collapsed. When Karina was 8, they came to the U.S., but immigration authorities denied them asylum status and issued an order of removal when Karina was 13.
And I remember we were also given advised to go to the Ukrainian embassy to retrieve travel documents. I remember being told, sorry, we don't recognize you as a citizen.
By the Ukrainian embassy?
By the Ukrainian embassy. And the word stateless was never presented to us. We were never told we were stateless.
Even if they'd wanted to, Karina and her parents had no way to self-deport. They were citizens of nowhere. Joanne Kelsey with the UN's Refugee Agency says stateless people face significant barriers in daily life.
In the United States specifically, a lot of stateless people don't have a legal identity. They don't have a document that, that shows who they are. Some people have an expired passport, but some people have nothing. And so it's difficult to get services if you don't have legal documentation. Some of the stateless people that I've met have been separated from their families and their loved ones for decades. Employment is very difficult. Some stateless people I've met have been homeless or have been near homeless.
Worldwide, the UN estimates there are some 10 million stateless people. In the U.S., estimates are in the low hundreds of thousands. It's difficult to pinpoint the number of stateless people living in the United States. Late last year, the Department of Homeland Security announced a commitment to defining statelessness that could lead to more protections. Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas addressed what stateless people could expect under the Biden administration.
Will this policy change mean that stateless people can obtain government-issued IDs or travel documents or authorization to work legally in this country?
What we are going to be studying as we define statelessness, explore the law to determine what benefits stateless people might be entitled to. It is our desire to bring stability and humanity to their experience here in the United States. But I will tell you that we are going to move with the urgency that the vulnerabilities warrant. And so it is our goal to define statelessness and to really map out what will be available to them and our ability to deliver on that this fiscal year.
Milian Ethiopis feels that vulnerability every time he drives. Maryland allows undocumented immigrants to obtain a limited driver's license. You've been living here for more than a decade. Does this feel like home?
Yeah, this is home. This is safer, but I always careful. You know, I don't drive fast, and I don't have any tickets. I don't drive late.
He's worried about any run-in with police that could lead to losing his license or worse, detention.
You're working really hard, you go to church, you're doing all the things a good citizen would do, but you have no citizenship.
We always try to maintain, do normal things. What American asking: go to work, pay tax, be a good citizen, no criminal, nothing. And we go back, we pay tax and everything. But at the end of the day, you don't get anything back.
Karina Ambartsumian-Clow was able to gain DACA status 8 years ago. But even though she and her American husband have been married for nearly 10 years, she still has no pathway to citizenship, nor do her now aging parents, who have never gone back to their homeland.
Not being a citizen of any country in the world limits you for your access to your human rights. Without having a country that recognizes me, I don't have any laws that protect me. There's no embassy I can go to. There's no, I don't have access to travel documents.
You don't have a passport.
I don't have a passport.
Which means you can't leave the U.S.
I can't leave the U.S. I can't, yeah.
So you have not been able to leave the U.S. since you were 8 years old?
Yeah. This is something that affects majority of stateless people. It's one common aspect. There's a lot of mourning with this status, mourning of things that you could have had, of things you could have been.
Karina and Milian have very different backgrounds, but now a shared mission. They started United Stateless, an advocacy organization pushing Congress to pass legislation to permanently protect the stateless, their only hope for legal status in this country. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Stephanie Tsai in Washington.